Among the Cherokee Indians who inhabit this place of the blue smoke, there exists a legend that tells of the creation of the Great Smokies. In the beginning, the people and animals lived in the sky. Below them was only a vast ocean. When the skies became too crowded, a tiny water beetle was sent down to search the ocean for land. The beetle swam and swam. Finding no place to rest, he dove to the bottom of the sea and brought up a small lump of mud. The mud grew and expanded and became our earth. While this earth was still soft mud, the people directed a great buzzard to search for a place dry enough to live. Flying over Cherokee country, the great buzzard became very tired, dropping low. As his wings struck the soft earth and swept upwards again, the valleys and mountains of the Great Smokies were created. This, then, is the story of the Great Smoky Mountains. It is a story of the changes of time, of compression, faulting, uplift, and erosion. It is a story of natural history, of virgin forests and lush vegetation, of flourishing wildlife. It is a story of man's presence, his exploitation, and his contributions. And it is also a story of awe and wonderment, dedicated to all who enjoy nature. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is located in the eastern United States, a part of the Appalachian Mountain Range. The national park is situated in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, the crest of the Smokies marking the state's boundary. Created around 300 million years ago, the Great Smoky Mountains are among the oldest on Earth. They were formed when powerful movements in the Earth's crust compressed, uplifted, and thrust sedimentary rocks into a large mountain range. The movement of wind and rain gentled the jagged edges and rounded the alpine peaks of the Great Smokies' youth. Water, flowing, falling, freezing and thawing, forever changing, constantly altering the face of the land. By the time Europeans arrived in America, the Cherokee had long been established in the Great Smoky region. They called the mountains Oconaluftee, the place of blue smoke. They lived and farmed along the streams and rivers. They were also skilled hunters and patient gatherers, living well in this land of abundance. The first pioneers came to the Great Smoky Mountains in the late 1700s. They began, as the Cherokees had done, with the most accessible land. Resourceful and hard-working, these people established self-sufficient communities in the Smokies. But by 1900, a new economic force changed the lives of the mountain people, changed the mountains themselves. Logging. Many sold their land or the timber rights to their land to the great logging companies. Some people worked for the timber companies. Others sold crops to meet the ever-increasing needs of the lumbermen. By the 1920s, 2/3 of the land which would become the national park had been decimated from logging, burning, and the subsequent erosion. One of the better-known people to raise the alarm over this wanton destruction was Horace Kephart. He wrote persuasively, deploring the condition of the mountains and advocating the formation of a national park in the Great Smokies. Conservation associations were formed by Tennessee and North Carolina, and they began buying land. Not an easy task. The area consisted of more than 6,000 individual parcels. 85% of the land that became the park was owned by timber companies. Congress authorized the development of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in 1926, and the park was dedicated September 2nd, 1940, by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The ravages of man's destruction were halted, and rebirth of the delicate ecosystem was begun under a new caretaker, the National Park Service. Today, the Great Smokies have regained their beauty, their grandeur, their mysteries intact. Hundreds of miles of streams and rivers wind through mystical ancient forests, craggy ridges, and verdant valleys of breathtaking beauty. The wide range of elevations and abundant rainfall support a diversity of plants and animals. Arthur Stupka, park naturalist in the Smokies for 25 years, said, "Vegetation to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is what granite domes and waterfalls are to Yosemite, geysers are to Yellowstone, and sculptured pinnacles are to Bryce Canyon." Within these 520,000 acres grow nearly 1,600 species of flowering plants and over 4,000 species of non-flowering plants and shrubs. 5 distinct forest types contain over 100 species of trees, 70 different mammals, over 200 different species of birds, about 50 different fishes, 38 reptile species, and almost 40 amphibian species call the Great Smokies their home. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is one of the United Nations International Biosphere Reserves, chosen as an outstanding example of a major ecosystem. Experience the movement and drama of nature in every corner, in every flower, in every stream and river of the forest. Feel the timeless serenity and calm, the awesome presence of unseen life. And for those who take the time, the offer of unique and rewarding opportunities. In the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, nature flows, stands never still. Motion or change is her mode of existence. There is a vibration in the days now, whether they are gusty days or days of calm, chill days or days of deepening warmth. They have the air of change, responsive to the shift in the sun. Spring comes first at the lower elevations. A kaleidoscope of green spreads across the lowlands as buds open on trees and shrubs. Green, the color of growth, of burgeoning life, enwraps the land. New green, still as individual as the plants themselves. Cool green, which will evolve as the weeks pass into a canopy of shade against the summer sun. The starched white flowers of dogwood, the returning songbirds, the tulip tree, the Fraser magnolia, all are familiar and welcome signs of spring in the Smokies. Spring rains nourish the emerging new growth of the season. In the lowland valleys, such as Cades Cove, deer tranquilly graze on the tender grass. Spring is perhaps the best time to view the park's many waterfalls. Water flow is heavy, while dense summer growth is not yet in place. The forest still open, filled with sunlight. Laurel Falls. Grotto Falls. Abrams Falls. The annual fall leaf drop of deciduous trees is significant to the ecology of the Smokies. It means that light reaches the forest floor in winter and early spring. This fact is critical to the growth of wildflowers. Early wildflowers are mostly sun plants, timing their appearance to spring sunlight before the tree canopy shades them again. Spring wildflowers bloom everywhere. In early spring, the violets, Dutchman's breeches. Later in April, the bloom hits its peak. Nearly any lower elevation trail in the park will put on an extravagant show of blooms. Showy orchis, dwarf iris, columbines, jack in the pulpit, yellow lady slippers. Many varieties of trillium adorn the Smokies with their striking blooms from April through July. For more than 4 decades, the park has hosted the annual Spring Wildflower Pilgrimage on the last weekend of April. Their delicate beauty best revealed at close range, with a keen, alert eye. Springtime in the Smokies is a time of renewal, a celebration of all new life, beginning on the forest floor. About 2,000 species of fungi inhabit the Great Smokies. What we notice are the above-ground portions, often bizarre and wildly colored. Carmine coral, Lingchi mushroom. Mushrooms are essential in the deciduous forest, as they aid in the decay of woody plant material. Lichens are a combination of an alga and fungus living together harmoniously. They can grow nearly anywhere, including bare rock in Roaring Creek. Streams and rivers speak a new language, refreshed, chattering with change. And finally, spring comes to the higher elevations. Up the mountain slopes, deep into sheltering forests. The weather in spring is unpredictable, changing almost without warning. The season tries on different moods, eager to be spring, reluctant to give up winter. Spring, the traditional time of planting, and so it was for the farmers of the Smokies. This farmland, painstakingly carved from the forests, was rich and loamy, possessing the topsoil of centuries. Land that had produced great forests would nourish fine crops. Today, the Park Service keeps rural life traditions alive through the living demonstrations at the Mountain Farm Museum in the Oconaluftee Valley. One of the most beautiful and productive areas in all the Great Smokies is Cades Cove. Each May, the descendants of those early settlers and many people who lived in the cove prior to the establishment of the park returned to Cades Cove, celebrating mountain lore through song and dance on Old Timers Day.
Lonzo and Oscar songs now. She be coming round the mountain charming Betsy. She be coming round the mountain charming Betsy. She be coming round the mountain Orly. And if I could never see you again, it could never remember me. Now rich man he rides in a Cadillac, the poor man he does the sleigh. And if I could never see you again, it would never remember me. Now rich man he lives in a pine tree house, poor man he does the sleigh. And if I could never see you again, it would never remember me. Now pretty gal, she smells like a pretty red rose. Poor gal, she smells the same. But my gal, she smells like a big goat. But she is smelling just the same. She be coming around the mountain, she be coming around the mountain Orly. And if I could never see you again, then good gal, remember me.
The Old Timers celebration is a reminder of another time, one long past. Today, the forest, the plants, the wildlife have reclaimed this land. June comes with its own tranquility, predictable as sunrise, reassuring as the coolness of dawn. Grass grows towards maturity. Trees cast the same cool shade. Streams make their way to rivers, the rivers on a course to the sea. There is a certainty, an undiminished truth in sunlight, in rain, in the fertility of the seed. Although nature has no object lesson, June and summer bring to the forests the undeniable truth of growth, of the continuous cycle of life in the Smokies. Although seen infrequently by visitors, black bears are the park's most popular wildlife. Cubs, usually twins, are born during the winter. By summer, the cubs are ready to practice the skills they'll need to survive in the forest. Encouraged by their mother at an early age, the cubs learn to climb trees at the first sign of danger. Their playful wrestling strengthens young muscles, teaches agility and balance. Summer is a time of abundant food for the wildlife population of the Smokies. The graceful white-tailed deer derive their name from the way they flag their tails as an alert to the herd. Almost hunted to extinction during the early part of this century, their population has increased since the Great Smoky Mountains National Park was established. The diverse habitat of the Smokies supports a richly varied bird population. A permanent resident of the park, the pileated woodpecker can be found year-round. Often seen in pairs, they are the largest woodpeckers in the park. His drumming and hammering, as befits his size, is the loudest and echoes throughout the Smokies. The pileated woodpecker often feeds on stumps and fallen logs that harbor boring insects. Among the park's birds are eastern bluebird, permanent resident; indigo bunting, summer resident; American robin, permanent resident; barred owl, permanent resident; junco, permanent resident. It's no wonder that bird watching is a popular park activity. The streams and rivers of the Great Smokies teem with fish. Over 50 different species are represented, including the hogback and the native brook trout. Both perhaps looking for an unwitting crayfish. When the air is warm and moist from a summer shower, the careful observer will probably find a salamander or two exploring the forest path. The Smokies are particularly blessed with salamanders and are home to 27 different kinds, including the red-cheeked form of Jordan's salamander, found only in the Smokies. Visitors may also see some of the park's resident reptiles and amphibians as they appear in the summer's heat. Now in the height of summer, the forest trees stand lush and listless, their great canopies working magic with sun, air, and moisture. Although designated as distinct types, the forest's pattern of growth is more a patchwork quilt than clearly defined zones. By early summer, the forest's green quilt comes alive with rhododendron, dense, dramatic thickets of rhododendron. The two most common types found in the park are catawba on the high exposed ridges. It blooms first, and is followed by the rose bay, which grows in shaded woodlands at lower elevations. At high elevations, the striking flame azalea, and mountain laurel are in flower. These are followed later in the summer by black-eyed Susan, common elderberry, golden ragwort. Wildflowers have evolved specialized refinements that relate directly to the animals, usually the insects which pollinate them. Flower shapes, colors, fragrances, petal markings, and blooming times are all designed to lure bee, beetle, and butterfly. Insects abound in summer's warmth and humidity, filling the air with a drone of 1,000 bugs. Dragonfly, camouflage moth, camouflage katydid, rosy moth, black damselfly, summer is the most popular time to visit the Smokies. Due to the careful protection of the Park Service, today's visitor may see nature in the Smokies much the same as the first European visitors did in the 1500s. Any visit to the Great Smokies should start at one of the 3 visitor centers, Sugarlands, Oconaluftee, or Cades Cove. The Sugarlands Visitor Center is a good place to get started. It has a natural history museum with exhibits, publications, and programs. Rangers are there to answer questions and give insight to the fullness and quality of plant and wildlife in the park. It's also a good place to stretch your legs on the self-guided nature trail or wait for the daily orientation hike with a park ranger. Not far from Sugarlands begins the Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail, where the variety of nature and man's legacy make a special setting and a memorable outing. The Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail is a 5.5-mile drive which begins through a young cove hardwood forest. Maples, oak, tulip trees, and magnolia are a few members of that varied community. They prefer lower and middle elevations, the moisture of coves and valleys. A stop at the Noah Bud Ogle Farm will acquaint you with one of the most innovative home builders to live in the Roaring Fork area. A short distance away is the trailhead for the Rainbow Falls Trail. Chestnut trees were once a part of the forest on this trail. A fungus, unintentionally introduced, has destroyed the American chestnut tree from Maine across the Midwest and south to Mississippi. The fruit of the chestnut had been a vital part of the diet of many park animals. The 80-foot-high Rainbow Falls is one of the more popular waterfalls in the Smokies. The nearby Grotto Falls Trail is fairly easy. The trail winds through an excellent example of remaining virgin forest on its way to Grotto Falls. cool, moist environment of Grotto Falls is perfect for summer hikers and salamanders. Newfound Gap Road is the park's most traveled road. Beginning at the park boundary near Sugar Lands, Tennessee, it takes us over the mountains to Oconaluftee in North Carolina. Overlooks along Newfound Gap Road provide dramatic vistas of the park's wilderness. The chimney tops overlooks provide outstanding views of one of the park's best-known features. Chimney tops cap a sheer rise of nearly 2,000 feet. Alum Cave Trail is popular for its rewarding walks, hikes, and climbs to suit almost any timetable and ability. One leads to Arch Rock, a natural tunnel carved by erosion. Alum Cave itself is actually a large overhanging bluff. Past Alum Cave, the trail leads on to Mount LeConte and a strenuous climb up the mountain. One of the most conspicuous residents of the forest is the red squirrel, or mountain boomer. Spruce and fir mix with beech and yellow birch to form the northern hardwood forests of this area. Newfound Gap is on the Tennessee-North Carolina border, at the crest of the Smokies and the southern Appalachians. Important for its sweeping vistas in both directions, Newfound Gap has historic significance as well. The park was dedicated at the Rockefeller Memorial. John D. Rockefeller's generous gift in the name of his wife helped make possible the purchase of land creating the Great Smoky Mountains National Park for the permanent enjoyment of the people. The Appalachian Trail crosses the road at Newfound Gap. In one direction, Maine. In the other direction, the trail leads to Georgia. Just south of the gap is the road to Clingmans Dome, the highest peak in the Great Smokies at 6,643 feet. The observation tower at the summit provides a magnificent 360-degree panorama. The cool, wet climate at the higher elevations fosters another distinct forest type, the spruce-fir forest community. The park contains over 70% of the spruce-fir forest in the southern Appalachians. Here and elsewhere in the Appalachian high country, the skeletal remains of the fir tree is all that's left. A small insect, the balsam woolly adelgid, accidentally introduced in Maine about 1900, has killed nearly all the adult fir trees. Red spruce trees in the higher elevations appear to be under attack from the pollutants carried in the air and washed out by rain. Vast portions of these splendid forests are affected by pests, disease, and pollution. Returning to Newfound Gap Road, we head south into North Carolina. Destination, Oconaluftee. At Oconaluftee is the Mountain Farm Museum. The museum is a collection of historic farm buildings that were moved here from various park locations. Every summer at the Mountain Farm Museum, a special event, Women in Southern Appalachia, pays tribute to the contributions made by the region's women.
I've had you some cramped up city life, cramped like a duck in a pen. All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple again. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee, Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Returning back over Newfound Gap to Sugar Lands, the tour picks up Little River Road and heads toward Cades Cove. Little River Road has much to offer as it twists and turns following the course of the river. Our first stop along Little River Road will be a trip to Laurel Falls. The trail is short, not very steep, and worth the effort, as this is one of the park's prettiest falls. You may go on your own, or there are occasionally ranger-guided hikes. Laurel Falls seems subdued by the heat of summer and the forest's canopy. There's less water now, and dense foliage obscures the falls and the trail. There's a variety along this trail, with many types of vegetation present. On the south-facing slope, it's warmer, drier. This is home for the pine oak forest. They tolerate the park's comparatively dry, exposed slopes and ridges. Our route takes us next to the Sinks. At the Sinks, Little River confronts a hard rock wall and turns sharply between giant rocks in a violent cascade. The constant rush of water has carved deep pockets out of the rock, producing a dramatic example of the forces of erosion. Quiet walkways also appear along the Little River Road. Turnouts for quiet walkways are large enough for 1 or 2 cars, thus assuring your peace and solitude beneath the forest's dark canopy. Back on the road again, we're on our way to Cades Cove. Cades Cove is one of the park's most popular and interesting destinations in both natural and human history. As a scenic attraction, Cades Cove is hard to beat. 5 miles long and 2 miles wide, the 11-mile paved loop is completely surrounded by the majestic Smokies. Settlement of this beautiful cove by non-Indians began in the 1820s. The settlement included farmhouses, stores, churches, and mills. Cades Cove residents gathered together to help with a harvest, raise a barn, or worship in one of several churches built by the community. Most of the buildings are gone, but the Park Service preserved several homes and churches as examples of life in another time. Our first stop is the Methodist Church, supposedly built by one man, J.D. McCampbell, in 115 days for $115. When he was done, he served as its preacher. Next, we'll visit the Elijah Oliver cabin. This cabin, with its stone chimney and small windows, is typical of many in the Smokies. The Visitors Center provides information on Cades Cove and exhibits illustrating rural life in the mountains. The John Cable Mill still grinds corn with its giant water-powered millstone. The mill is probably the most visited building in the cove. Large barns were common in Cades Cove. The loft of the Tipton barn would hold many tons of hay. The overhang sheltered animals and farm equipment, without posts in the way of traffic. The Gregg Cable House, built in 1879, may have been the first framed house in Cades Cove. Aunt Becky Cable lived here, farmed, kept boarders, and cared for her brother's children. She remained here until her death at the age of 96. At the edges of the cove, where field meets forest, wildlife can often be seen. In fact, this may be the very best place to see the park's largest bird, America's largest game bird, the wild turkey. They prefer open woodlands, borders of fields, and forest clearings, but they're shy. Look for them early in the morning before many visitors are out in the cove. In the cove, drive carefully. Occasionally, wildlife may also be present on the roads. When bears are present, traffic comes to a standstill. A bear jam. Fascination with the bears is understandable, but remember, they are wild animals. If the bear jams remind you of what you wanted to leave back home, set out on foot or bicycle to see the cove. The self-guiding Cades Cove Nature Trail is a fine way to see the area. Or, a bit longer, is Abrams Falls Trail, a 5-mile round trip off the Loop Road, ending in an 18-foot-high waterfall. An interesting trip from Cades Cove is to Gregory Bald, one of the many grassy, treeless areas found along the mountain ridges in the park. It is not known what caused these balds, although many theories have been advanced. Scientists do agree that when left ungrazed, trees will begin to close in the bald. Gregory is perhaps most famous for its flame azaleas, declared to be among the finest in the world. 175 different plants have been identified on Gregory Bald, among them some rare and endangered species. From the top of Gregory, we understand John Muir's words. In such places, standing alone on the mountaintop, it is easy to realize that whatever special nests we make, we all dwell in a house of one room, the world with the firmament for a roof. So far, most of our tour has taken us to destinations along the well-beaten path. There are many points of interest that can only be reached from outside the park. They tend to be less crowded, places where one may enjoy the solitude of nature even in the busy summer months. Foothills Parkway offers a good alternative to the heavily traveled park roads, and both east and west sections provide fine views looking back into the park. The wilderness of Greenbrier today hides the fact that this was once one of the most populated communities in the mountains. Greenbrier is a day-use area. It offers great fishing in the gorgeous middle prong of the Little Pigeon River. Hiking is another good possibility. There is a fairly challenging but very rewarding trail to Ramsey Cascades, the park's highest waterfall. The self-guiding nature trail at Cosby is not heavily traveled, providing a more private look at the park's natural history. Foothills Parkway East gives access to Big Creek, a quiet hideaway especially favored by hikers. Cataloochee, a remote mountain valley on the eastern edge of the Smokies, casts a spell over nearly everyone who's been here. Beyond sheer beauty, there is a strong, deep sense of history. The Cherokee were the first, then came the pioneer settlers, attracted by the abundance of game and fish. A tour of Cataloochee might include visits to Woody's house, the Beech Grove School, and of course, the Caldwell House. On the south side of the park, Balsam Mountain Road offers striking views from either side of the road. The Haintuga Overlook offers superb park experiences in texture and color. A highlight of your trip to Balsam Mountain might be a drive on Balsam Mountain Road to Round Bottom, one of those Smokies back roads visited by only a handful of people. Deep Creek, a former pioneer community, is now a place for tourists. Three lovely waterfalls are reached by easy walks along Deep Creek. Tom's Branch Falls, Indian Creek Falls, and Junie Wank Falls. Several excellent hiking trails originate from 20 Mile, located in the southwest corner of the Smokies. You can count on having the beauty of this remote area pretty much to yourself. Dusk comes somewhat earlier now. The summer solstice is behind us, the daylight slowly diminishing. Summer passes. This is a time of fortune and misfortune for the park's bear population. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is bear country, and millions of people come to the Smokies each year, most hoping to see the bears. Occasionally, bears will come into the campgrounds and picnic areas and feed on carelessly thrown garbage, get into picnics, or beg for handouts. They quickly learn to associate food with people. Not only do these panhandler bears cause trouble and sometimes injury, they are much more vulnerable to poaching. They're more visible, so it's more likely that this animal will be killed. Bear behavior is influenced by the people, but the bears pay the price. Each year, the Park Service must capture and relocate these panhandler bears. The tranquilized bear is checked over to be sure he's healthy. A salve is placed in his eyes to prevent drying, and he's loaded into a truck to be relocated to an area deep in the park.
Even if we get all the garbage picked up, there's still people that are going to throw food out. And I'd just like to ask you, if you do see somebody throwing food out, tell them why it's a bad idea. You know, it's not good for the bears. Ultimately, you're going to kill the bear. About 33% of the bears we relocate are recaptured again right in the same area. They come back and cause problems. We have to move them again and again and again.
We speak of the wind and its voices, but most of the voices are in the trees. And even those voices vary from season to season, month to month. The trees are talking now of change, and the voices of the leaves are clearly the voices of early autumn. It's a different wind that blows, a wind that seems to come from far places. On sunny weekends in mid or late October, some 60,000 people will make a pilgrimage to the park to see the fall colors. At the higher elevations, where yellow birch, hobblebush, and red maple blaze against the evergreen backdrop, the peak usually occurs during the first 2 weeks of October. Even the morning skies of the Smokies have taken on the colors of autumn. Fall is a hoarding time, a last chance to lay up stores for hungry times ahead, to join in the fall harvest of mast, nuts, and acorns. The provident ones among the animals come to their busiest season. Squirrels have been harvesting and stowing away for months, putting even the ants to shame with their industry. Bears stow their winter reserves under their skins, gorging now on the rich mast, laying up body fat which will take them through a long sleep in winter-locked dens. Deer join in the fall mast harvest, but do not depend on it as much as some of the others. Deer have the option of twigs and shrubs. For the deer, a cycle begins in the fall. Deer mating takes place from September to November. These youngsters practice for the day when they will challenge the mature bucks for the does. Songbirds gather for migration, restless, not full of song as they were a few short months ago. The park's permanent residents prepare for winter. Leaves show tides of color on the slopes and in the valleys. Then there are leaves on every breeze. In the roadways, in the meadows, and in every stream. An estimated 500 tons of leaves drop on the forest floors annually. The forest's decomposers, bacteria, algae, fungi, and soil animals, break down the leaf litter, adding to the rich, moist soil of the Smokies. Snails eat decomposing leaf litter. Millipedes eat dead leaves and decaying wood. Quiet has come to the forests and meadows, the winter quiet. The insects that buzzed and hummed and scratched are silenced now. The songbirds have gone south. Streams and rivers are quiet too, without the heavy rains of spring and summer. The big color is also gone. Now there are the quiet tones of winter. The land's curves, defined now, undisguised by any blanket of green. Quiet. Only the sound of snowflakes falling. A snowfall transforms the Smokies into a place of magic. Many of the park's residents are gone now. Some have migrated. Others are simply asleep. But those who adapt to the hardships of winter have the park to themselves. We come now to a time of more rain than snow, more melt than new ice, to longer days, to change, slow and creeping, change that leaves us impatient with its deliberation. The seasons form a great circle in their changing, and now spring comes once again to the Smokies. Summer and sunlight, the urgency of growth, the inevitability of time and change, forces beyond the eager hand of man. The shadow of time, of the seasons, moves slowly but surely across the face of the Great Smoky Mountains. Of all the places we've been, all the good things we've seen, the Smoky Mountains are most dear to us. We find peacefulness and beauty there, which we've found nowhere else. From the smallest flower to the shiniest pebble in the stream, we enjoy and appreciate every moment of our visits. We know once we see those first peaks rising in the distance, we've come home again. Home to a place where happiness and contentment in the quiet and solitude of woods and streams will see us through until we visit again.
Help sing it. Out to the barnyard we would go, learning how to hit and run and throw. We had cows and horses all around the place. Once we left until we split, when my daddy got a hit, he slid into what he thought was second base. Mama played second, brother and sister